Hey, what's up, Shackman here. This is Potato Devlog number 3, and this is the one where I can partly say that I've managed to make a published version of this game. So it's still a minimal viable product, but it can be played by people that did not develop the game, which is always not that easy to reach right when you make a game yourself. So you probably find out when you play this, no, you have to click there, no, you can't click this, and so on. Hopefully this game is easy enough and all the UI is now in place, so people can just start playing it, which you could do too, right? I'll post the link down in the description. I'd really appreciate some feedback. If you give me constructive feedback, also feel free to post a link to your game, and I would gladly return the favor, give you some feedback on your games. One of the best things I did during the development of this game was to always write down a weekly plan, and at the end of the week I would just write down what worked and what didn't, and also found out that never the plan actually worked out. It just, life gets in the way, but then of course also the whole development process. It's too dynamic to just say this week I'm gonna do exactly this and that, but I think it's still good to make that plan and see if it worked out or not, or at least how close you got to that plan, right? To get a little bit more realistic. Anyhow, I thought I'm gonna share a few of these lessons with you here, like some of the most important ones, which of course also helps me to repeat them one more time. So let's go through them. So lesson number 1, everything will change, then it will change again and again and again, and then you think, okay, this is it, and then it will probably change again. So that kind of means that whatever I'm working on at any moment, it's probably not going to be in the game. It's almost sickening to think about all the things I've done for this game that are just not in there right now, but that's just part of the process, right? And I kind of expect if I keep working on it, then none of the things you see right now will be in the game. I'm going to replace all of the UI, all of the effects, all of the machines, maybe even the potato. Actually, I definitely want to replace the potato. Yeah, so, and the takeaway there basically is, right, I should keep things always rough and just slowly circle in on the polish, not just go too far. And that also goes into lesson number 2. That is the idea of using tracer bullets, but really use them sparingly. So tracer bullets is a concept, they talk about that in the book The Pragmatic Programmer, and it's based on the idea of real-life tracer bullets, which are bullets that are loaded in intervals in, when you have an actual clip. To be honest, I didn't even know what tracer bullets are. That's so much of a nerd I am. I learned about it in the Pragmatic Programmer. Right, so when you see like these crazy gun battles in the dark and these bright orange stripes, those are actually special bullets. Those are not normal bullets. Those are tracer bullets. They are meant to leave these glowing stripes, so the shooter can actually see if they're somewhat hitting the target. And they use that concept to say you should test like very small units, but in the actual conditions, right? If you have like a database or something, can you query this one thing? Can you send this over the network, but in the actual conditions? And I think it can apply to many things, right? So for example, I thought I should take some of the 3D models and just see like, okay, like what's the workflow of modeling it with all the details, exporting it, unwrapping, taking it to Substance Painter, texturing it, baking the lighting, taking it into Unity. And I really started with the idea of tracer bullets, and then I just did it for all the models, and that was a giant waste of time. So it's kind of like I took the concept of tracer bullets and loaded the entire clip with it, which is really defeating its purpose. I think the idea is still awesome, so I'm gonna keep doing that. Just say like, okay, let's take one effect and push it really far, and then still keep all the other ones really rough, right? Back to lesson number 1, just like keeping everything rough and slowly polishing everything as a whole together. Lesson number 3 is getting things done real quick is usually a giant waste of time because it never really happens. I should always focus on learning and improving workflows. Also ties into lesson number 1 and 2. So this way it's just not wasted time, even if I spend a little bit too much time on doing something that I won't need at all. If I focus on learning and improving the workflow, then, well, the time is not wasted, but at least I'm learning. It's almost like I'm studying and the product is just like a side effect. I definitely butchered that when I did the 3D modeling, because I figured, well, I'm quite confident with Blender. I don't need to refresh my box cutter and hard ops knowledge, like to not very intuitive add-ons, but very powerful for hard surface modeling. Ended up like 40-50 hours modeling the 3D models, and yeah, really regretted that I didn't spend just a few hours on just really learning hard ops and box cutter again, or even like I should have used the whole time. Basically, I'm gonna sit down and really get good at the workflow at these tools, and then the models are basically just practicing, right? Could have gotten a lot more out of that. At least I did it quite well with Substance Painter. So in that case, I was like right away just like taking as many notes as possible, trying out different workflows, and I think I have a really good workflow now for the future that is quite literally going to multiply my productivity in Substance Painter by like several 100%. So that was definitely a lesson learned, and from now on I try to always do that. Doesn't matter what I'm doing, the main goal is learning and improving my workflows. Lesson number 4 is I should always work on workflow boosting systems, like within Unity and of course maybe a little bit outside. Of course, they should be developed in parallel, right? I can't just go ahead and spend 2 weeks writing tools only to find out I don't need any of these tools. But I should also never ever neglect working on that. May have been a double negative, but I should always work on improving the workflow. So what I think I did quite well was, for example, I created this system here that controls material properties, and I can use these curves, and then I can just put in like any value, and of course they're getting saved in Scribble objects, so I can do like lots of variations. That one was quite well. Now of course I do have to keep working on this. For now I think it's good enough, but this would be definitely something to watch out for. One thing that I definitely messed up, and I kind of knew it, and I kind of just wanted to get things done. Again, mistake number 3. It's gotten a pretty big mess of like which potato is using which particle and which machine and which material and which effect, and that effect shouldn't even be in the game. That was just a placeholder. Yeah, so if you download the game now, you're gonna get some crazy effects that you're never gonna see again, because actually that looks kind of cool. Maybe that should stay in. That was just a side effect. I think this one looks a bit more interesting. Yeah, anyhow, I spent so much time just realizing, oh wait a second, now this potato is using the green particle, it's supposed to use the blue particles, and I definitely need to work on like a system. And I saw it coming and I neglected it, and in the end it just cost me way too much time. Right? I think the best way right now would be to use Odin Inspector and create some like really nice table view where I can see every machine, every particle, every effect, and then variations. And of course also have that system always assign it to the machine so I don't accidentally forget it. Yeah, that's definitely the next thing. And also I think it's always good to work on some things that can be used for both. So, well, not for this game, but I was just working on something else right now where I think the player should definitely see some UI at which states a current character state is in right now. And I figured, well, as the developer, I also want to see that while I'm developing this game, because it's definitely going to happen that the character is in the wrong state. Or not just the character, but all the NPCs. So why not make a really rough UI that shows the state, and then I'm sure I'm gonna catch so many times where I realize, wait a second, I had no idea this character is in the wrong state. But since I have this rough UI already in there, I can see that, so it's gonna help me debugging a lot. And I think like identifying anything that can kind of serve like a double purpose, like it's going to be in the game, it's going to be there for the player, but it's also going to help me debugging. Yeah, I think that's really helpful, and of course I should always work on these things first. That's the first effect. To be honest, these effects aren't all quite there yet. As I said, it's an MVP, but hey, if you play it now, you get to see it's like, you know, like a famous rapper mixtape. You know, you can say like, yeah, I was playing Idle Potato. Oh, it's called Idle Potato Power. You can say I was playing it when there were like these super rough effects in there. Oh yeah, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna run a little marketing experiment. So for a while I'm only going to mention this game on my channel here, and just want to see if this leads to, well, any downloads at all really. Um, then I'm going to start posting some things on Reddit, maybe just some effects, videos, right? See if this is gonna have any effect. And then last but not least, I'm gonna make a WebGL version, upload this to like Newgrounds and stuff. I know that has worked in the past. I got like 100 downloads on Android with like a rather crappy Flash game that was back in the day. So it's gonna have some effect for sure, but yeah, hopefully I'll get like 10, 20 or 30 here and there, so I can see like, okay, you know what, channel gives me 10, but Reddit gives me 25 or something, or it's the other way around. Just to have like a little bit of data, what kind of marketing channels might work. And of course, for the first phase, the channel part, I'm going to do tons of tutorials, just basically everything I can think of here in this game that might be interesting for other people. The effects controller, some workflow systems, all of this stuff, right? So yeah, thanks for watching once again. Please feel free to try out the game. Oh, also it has no forced ads. There's one ad in the beginning, like when you come back, you can choose to watch an ad to get twice as much money. But that's it. There's no in-app purchases. Yeah, no other ads in the game at all. So you can play. Okay, that effect needs to. I'm supposed to go in one by one and not just getting scaled down. But yeah, as I said, hey, it's a rough version, right? But it's playable. It's on the Play Store. And I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you give me some feedback. And thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.